Good morning, Shabbat Shalom. Here we are back with Principle 3 on the 10 Commandments, and we're looking at do not take the Lord's name in vain and do not steal. These are the verses we're going to look at, and our principle here is very interesting how these two connect together. Because you're thinking, how do I take not taking the Lord's name in vain and do not steal? How do they work at all? Well, I'm going to show you that they are actually very, very, very important that we see them together. The first thing I want to explain to you is the word for do not take in Hebrew is lo, which means no, and tisa, which means take. So do not take. When you look at that, though, and you look in the Hebrew and you look at it in more detail, it means to not lift up, to not carry away. When they're talking about to not lift up and not carry away, what we're looking at is for the purpose of harm. Okay? So there are scriptures where it says, lift up your eyes to the Lord. This is when you're doing that same thing. This is the figurative side. When you're looking up to heaven, you're asking the Lord to be there for you. You're seeking Him and not others. This one is saying the opposite. Do not lift up. It means to physically lift up. So when you think about David, remember when the ark, David was trying to transport the ark, and they had put it on a cart with donkeys. They weren't supposed to do that. There was very specific ways for the Ark of the Covenant to be carried. And long story short, it wasn't carried right. One of the guys went out to reach and touch it, and he died instantly. They wound up leaving the Ark of the Covenant with a person there on the road so that they did not have to transport it. This is what they're talking about. You have to show reverence, respect, and all those things when you say the name of the Lord. But this is very interesting because we don't often think of taking the Lord's name. But understand that the Lord's name is who He is. His name, when He describes Himself in Torah to us, tells us His character, tells us who He truly is. One of His names is the Prince of Peace, the Counselor. These are some of the descriptions of His name and who He is, okay? Elohim is one that He introduces us to. Berashit, bara Elohim. In the beginning, created Elohim. Elohim is very much connected to when He is creating. So He is our creator. So His name Elohim means that He is our creator. So the second part of this, do not take, is the side that says His name in vain. Now this is a very interesting part because a name in vain, we don't often really understand that word today in our society. But what it really translates to is to take something and try to desolate it, to intentionally bring harm, evil, destruction towards it. What's very interesting, and I'm going to show you the name in vain, I'm going to show you this in the Paleo-Hebrew. We take these letters, the word for, in Exodus 20 is lashav. But this word is, we often pronounce it as lashon, and many Jewish people will say, lashon, because they don't want, no gossiping. It's often related to gossiping, speaking poorly about another person, etc. But what I want to show you is this root word in Hebrew is the shin, the vav, and the aleph. The shin represents consuming fire. The vav represents security, the connection. Sometimes people call it a tent peg, but it connects one thing to another and makes it secure. Then the third letter is the aleph. It's sometimes translated as the ox, but other times it's translated as a representation of Adonai. And so in this particular thing, when we're talking specifically about Adonai and his name, one of the things that we're looking at is that when we put these three things together, because remember, Hebrew was a pictorial language. So every single one of these letters creates a picture in itself. And so when we look at those three, we have the consuming fire, which is our shin. We have the security, the connection of our vav. We have the letter for Adonai, the aleph. And if we put that together, when we're saying do not take the Lord's name in vain, we're saying do not burn with consuming fire the secure connection that we have with Adonai. So think about that again. Lashon, we are taking the consuming fire and we are destroying the connection, the security of the relationship that we have with Adonai. And what's interesting is if you just think about, a gossip destroys her own home. A gossip destroys other people. If you look into the media today, especially during this year when we have all these presidential candidates coming forward, Donald Trump, all I need to do is say this man's name and everybody has an image of for or against Donald Trump. For him because he said these things and the media promotes that. Against him because the media said these things and people are against him because of that. And so I'm not for or against Donald Trump. What I'm bringing here is the principle of understanding that what we say about others can destroy people. And I have seen quite a few political campaigns over the years that, somebody got something and they put it into the media and boom, it was gone. If you're as old as I am, you remember the Life commercials with Mikey and the brothers push the bowl of cereal over to him and he won't like it. He doesn't eat anything. And then Mikey bites into the Life cereal and he's, wow, he likes it. Hey, Mikey. And then everybody goes on and they eat cereal. Well, I saw a Mythbusters TV show once, and they actually interviewed that boy Mikey. And they said that the myth was, and this is what I was told even as a child, that he took Pop Rocks, which was a popular candy, and soda, Pepsi or Coke, I don't remember, and he drank them and ate all the Pop Rocks, and his stomach blew up and he died. Now, as a small child, this was very upsetting to me because I liked Mikey and I loved that commercial. But this boy died. That was my opinion. Well, Mythbusters, back in the, I think, early 2000, wound up finding this boy and said, you're alive. What happened? And he said some kind of a crazy rumor began about the Pop Rocks and the soda. And he lost all of his filming contracts, and nobody wanted to put the dead kid on TV. I know this sounds crazy, but this is Lashon and it's a perfect thing. They took this poor boy's name and his reputation. Somebody created a crazy story about him that was not true. And this ended this kid's career as a TV person. This is Lashon. This is what Yeshua is saying. Do not take my name in vain. You're driving down the street and somebody does something, you slam your fist down and you say that. You know what you say. It's the Lord's name in vain is what it is. And everybody around you is like, ooh, I hate when he says that because that's when they're mad. You see what I mean? This is a real problem. Adonai's name is very specific to his character. And this is why we do not want to burn the bridge between those who are listening. Especially if I say, I believe in him, I'm his daughter, I'm a Christian, I'm Messianic, I'm Jewish. If I say any of those things and then people see the way that I interact, if I use his name in vain, I have taken his name and I have intended it for harm, even if I wasn't fully aware. Now let me ask you real quick, as we go on to the second part of this principle, You're thinking, how does that work with do not steal? I'm going to tell you. Because remember, our vertical relationship is us and Adonai. Our horizontal relationship is us and humankind. So when I say to you, do not steal, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Okay, I won't steal candy from the store. I won't steal somebody's TV. I won't steal their car radio. I won't steal their clothes. I won't steal their home. I won't steal things. You're thinking things. This is not what we're talking about here. Yes, on the surface, things. Do not steal. It's against the law. You'll go to jail. Okay, pay fines, etc. What Yeshua is talking about here, and we look back at the 10 Commandments, is it's really saying, do not steal a human. Right? This is what we're talking about. We think of things, okay, that's good, but this is towards mankind. The 10 Commandments is towards mankind. It's our relationship one to the other, right? Do not commit adultery. This man to man, man to woman. Do not commit adultery. We're walking here and we're saying, do not, once again, towards humankind. Do not steal humankind. You say, how do I steal humankind? Well, the truth is the only possession that we really have is our physical bodies. Once your physical body is gone, you're dead. It's over. It's the end. Okay, so now those of us who believe in the Christian faith, or what Torah says, you know, we will be with Yeshua, just like the thief on the cross. You will be in paradise with me today, he says. So yes, I'm going to live, I'm going to be in paradise. But that's what I'm talking about. While I live on this earth, I have a physical body. When this heart stops and this brain stops, I'm gone. There is no more Kellie Ann. Okay? So, our physical body is very important. You can take my house away, you can take my car, I can have other things be taken, but I still have this physical body. This is the only thing that cannot be taken. So this is what happens. Literally, when it says, do not steal, the scripture in Hebrew is the same. It comes back to that same word, lo tisa, which is do not take. It's not saying do not steal. It's literally saying do not take. And when we look at that, it means do not kidnap another person's physical body. Do not physically abuse another person, physically, sexually, mentally. This is what this is saying. Do not physically, emotionally, or sexually abuse another person. Do not take this person forcefully and put them into slavery. Do not take, carry away with intent to desolate, harm, or do evil. That's what this is saying when it says do not steal. And I'm going to repeat it again. Do not take up, carry away with the intent to do desolate the person, to harm the person, or to do evil to the person. This is why we can put physical abuse, sexual abuse, kidnapping, slavery, domestic violence, all of these things fall into do not steal. Do not intentionally harm this person. Okay, so let me just pull this all together. The connection between do not take the Lord's name in vain and do not steal is they both have do not take, which is lo tisa. Lo tisa, do not take. Do not take their name and use it for harm. Do not take their physical body and use it for harm. Do not bear false witness. Don't lie about people. Don't talk about them in a way that slanders their name. Do not intentionally bring physical harm, emotional harm to them. This is a very interesting principle, and I hope that you understand. I know as I'm wrapping up, I have looked for scriptures against slavery my whole life in Torah, because there is slavery in Torah. But what I found is that the 10 Commandments says it clearly. Do not take a person's physical body for the intention of harm. And that's what slavery was. So here we go. The 10 Commandments covers it all. We will see you again. This is Kellie Ann, Pastor Kellie Ann, saying, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he make his face shine upon you and give you his shalom. Until the next time we meet, when we cover Principle 4.